So hello everyone and welcome to this video, and this video is the second of a series of videos that I'm producing to help you understand how to use Microsoft Excel tools. So today we'll be looking at the font group. The font group is in the home tab, and it's the second of the groups in the home tab there. So we'll be looking at how to use these tools in Microsoft Excel. So we'll be starting with the bold, and we'll be going through, and then we'll be finishing with the font types here. So let's go ahead and see what they do. The bold. Here I have a table, and in this table, almost often we want the headers of each of the column to be bold. So to implement that, what I do is that I identify the headers and then select all cells that have header names. And what I do is just go and click the bold. And so you can see they are now in bold prints here. So it acts as a toggle. If I select them and then click, and then you see it's no longer highlighted and there's what they used to be. Clicking on it again, you see that they're bold. So if I select them, you see the tools that are in effect from the group here. So that's for that. So what about this? This is the italics. Like you can see, it's italicize your text. Okay. So in this table, one of the things we might want to italicize is the source. Okay, so here what I do is just select the cell that has contained whatever text I want to make italics, and just click italics here, and so you see it's changed. So off and on, that's it here. So that's italics, it becomes italics. And what about the big U here? So if you point to them, and that's one of the things you want to do when you are using Excel for the first time, if you're learning it, you can just point at tools and then see the note that comes out of it. Here we see that it's the underlines your text. And so that's exactly what it does. So we can click on it, and then you see that it underlines it. We have other types of underline here, a second option. So let me just take these names of members here, and then the drop down button. Anywhere you see a drop down button, know that you have more tools there. So you want to click on it and check to see what tools are in there, and then test them out. So we have the single underline and we have the double underline. So if you click double underline, you can see what it does here. So it gives us double lines here. So those are the two options you have here, and you can use them just where you want to use them. Okay. So the next one is the border. So a lot of people use this, and what they just do is they select what table they have, and they just click on it, and that is all. That's all they want. Well, let me just emphasize here that just as you can see, there are a lot of tools that is here. For example, I just did this. I don't like this border and all the colors, and the reason why this is happening is because my line color here is red. So I would like the default to be black, and also I would also like for the line type to be just thin like this. You get it? So now let's see. So I'm going in here, and I'm going to start using some of the tools here. So let me just clear it, and let me just be sure that all is fine. So all seems fine. So let's take these tools one after the other and see what exactly they do. Okay, so the next I want to show you is that of the that of the borders. Okay, so here I select my table, in fact all the text around here, and let's look at the first one. It says bottom border. Okay, so if I click on this, you see I have a border below it, and to select all of this, all this text here, especially if it's a table, what you can just do is Control Shift 8, and Control Shift 8 would select everything. So let's try the next one, top border, and we click on it. You see we've got a border at top here, and Control Shift 8 we can do for all the others, like we do for this left border and the right border. So you can see we've got a border all around it here. So I could Control Shift 8, and then what I see here is that I could take out everything that is border here. So that is it. So everything is out again. So you can see what each of these tools can be used to do. So if we go to the next one, we see that what we can do with the next one is just, and that's what you see happening here. So you can see that our table is taking shape, and that's because we are implementing tools within the font group. Okay, so let's see other things that we can do with the borders. Okay, so if you go beyond that, you find out that there is a thick outside border, and sometimes you might really want to do this by just selecting all of this and then clicking this. So this is how it looks like, a little better than it was previously. Okay, so you have other tools here, especially when we want to do things like totals, when we want to do summations and all of that, like we have here. We could decide that for this selection, we want it to take one of these, you know. So let me just click on this and then see what it does there. For us to actually see what it does, I want to clear the borders there and then select again. And what I do is take any of this. So I take this one. So this is what it does. So this is what it does. So we could select all of this and give it this, and then come back here and do any of this. So that's what we have. So this is just one way we can implement that. Okay, so for borders, there are other things we can do, like we could have a different color for our borders. So how do we do that? So two ways of getting into doing that. One, you could go through the border icon, go to the more button, the arrow down button, and we're going to click more borders, because almost all of this, in fact all of these things you do here, you can do it here. So it opens this dialog box, and within this dialog box here on borders, you can see different things you could do. So here I could choose a particular kind of border style that I want. If it's disjointed, if it's double line, if it's going to be a thick one, we can use this to select whatever we need. So we just select it and then come here and select a color that we want. I always like to use something gray for my colors, and so select that. You could just pick on any color that you want to use, you know, like let's use this, and then here we select this. This gives us a border around everything here, and then the inside, it gives us a border around everything here. So that's it. And if you notice all of these icons, you see they are highlighted, telling you that all of these have been implemented. So if we give an OK, you see it has this. But like I said that I always prefer gray, something gray about this, and so we just use this 2 on it, and that's what we have. So we have this one. all around it. Now let me just show you how another way you can get to the borders. You see, we have a more button here. Anytime you see this, it tells you that you could call up a dialog box that could do everything that you have here. So if we click on this, and there it is. So we could work on our fonts, we could work on our font style, our font size, underline, the color, and all of that. We could work on all of this just as we have them here. But we're talking about borders. So when we click on this border, we see all of these things that we can actually apply with regards to the border. Okay, so that's for that. We keep this one. Let's just still use all right, let's use the first one here. So that's fine. So that's what we have here. So let's go to the fill color. So when you just point out, you see the fill color. It says color the background of cells to make them stand out. One of the things you want to make stand out is your table headers. And so for that, you could choose an appropriate color to use for your headers. So assuming I want to choose this is my header, and then all others would indicate they are not header rows. So it makes my table stand out, doesn't it? So you could choose other colors other than the default that you might be seeing here by clicking on the arrow down button. You see other colors that you can implement. You get it? You can implement other colors here. And if you're not okay with what you have here, you could actually go to more colors. More colors, we have two tabs: the standard, which allows us to pick just any color here, and we also have the custom. So standard, I could pick a color here and okay, and then I have it implemented here. I could also go back to this point and I click on the more colors and go to the custom, and I could just pick from just anywhere. For example, I could pick this, okay, and then here you see it changes. So we can use any of this to just pick anything that is ideal for us to implement as our fill colors. So sometimes you might be working in a company, and the company has got a select color that they use for their presentation in Microsoft Excel. Usually this could have codes. These colors could have color codes. And one of the things you could do is that you could go to the internet. For example, I want RGB colors. I could just type RGB colors. Let me just pick on anyone here, but this time around, let me just pick on this. So there might just be the color code for what exactly we want to use, something you do not find in Excel, or you can't find the exact color that you want here. So you could come to a place like this, search and see what color you actually want. Yeah, let's just try with just any one here. Let's do orange red. So orange red is here, and then you can see the RGB color code here. Okay, so that's 255, 69, and 0. So we just come here, select where we want to implement it, go to our fill color and click on more. So here, so you can see you can do 255, then we have 69 here, and so you can see we already have it here, and this was 0. Okay, so that's it. So all what we need to do is just hit OK, and then we have it here. Everything about the fill color, it's the same with the font color. This is the font color, and it changes the font color of your text. So to make this much more appropriate, we could choose to select and then hit that we want it to be white or we want it to be a little gray. So that's it. So it looks much more presentable this way. It looks much more presentable this way. There are persons who do not like to look at red and white, whatever the case may be. You can choose whichever color you want. So maybe we just implement this. So you can see what it is now. Let's go for a white so that it comes out better. So fine. So we have been able to format much about our table, and you can see it's better than it used to be. You get it. So that's what the font color is. The font color has everything the fill color has. We have the more colors, and you can see all the recent colors I've used are listed here, so that I could always reach out for them and then use them. You get it. So that's what we have here, and it's important that you know about how to use them. Okay, so also for the text, you could always choose whatever colors you want to use. I don't want to use the black. I want to use some shades of gray and whatever. So it's left up to you to do whatever you think it's good for presentation for yourself. So having done the font colors, let us look at these other tools here. So what do we use these other tools for? Actually, these are font size tools. Increase font size or decrease your font size. So we could increase our font size. Yeah, we could decrease it to something that's just ideal for us to use. So that's what we have here. You get it. So we have that for use here. So that's okay. So you could also come here and choose it's like you can see each of these will give me a particular size. I click and then take it. You could also type something you want here. For example, I want 15, and then you have that just there for you to use. Okay, so lastly, we come to the font type. So it's pick a new font for your text. So while selecting the text we want to change, we can always come in here and make the necessary changes. So let me just to demonstrate that, let me just link to this cell here, make this a little bold, and then while I'm selecting on that, I just want to scroll. So I'm using my arrow down button to scroll amongst each of the options here and to see what it gives me. So you could pick just what you think it's ideal for you to use as a font type, and then use it. You get it. So you could pick them and use them, and that does help. So that's what we use the font types for. I also want to show you something interesting that comes out from the font type. So I want to go to this sheet, and here in this sheet I've got alphabets A to Z here. Okay, A to Z. So I just want to show you that we have some text or font formats that could give us some interesting things to present. So what I did was just to reference each of these cells to get the same thing here. So I want to go to the font types, and I want to click on this winding. Actually, it's webdings, whatever it is, but it's quite interesting. The font, the formats that you get from it, it's really quite interesting. So here is it. So they have the characters of text, and let me just make it bigger, and so you can see some of the things. We have this mark that looks like the sign for a good. We have a rectangle. We have other things. For example, this is an ambulance. So if you want to do visualizations that might involve an ambulance, so this is just ideal for you to use. And we have a circle. we have this we usually use to indicate bad or not included or whatsoever, a question mark. You have so many things that you can use, and not just this. Let's make another reference to this. And let me just have two more, I think, and let's just copy them. So let's format this with yet another. So we have wingdings here, different from this one. So I'm going to do this, and I want you to see the different things that you could get from it. You could get the diamond sign, you could have something that looks like an envelope, and all of that. So these are the different things you could get from all of this. So we have this and we have this other one. So this is quite interesting. We could have visualizations that we're trying to indicate that something goes up, something comes down. You get it? Those kind of things we see in stock market reports and all of that. You could use this to actually implement that in Excel. So see how that comes into play here. So we assume that we have this table explaining offers that we might have. So I'm going to just do some of the things we did before, make it bold here, and let's give it a border. Let's use more. Let's use for a fitting color. So I will choose red, and so I just want all around it. Let's use a bigger one, and that's it. Okay, fine. So we have this here. So we're trying to indicate or present that, well, for basic offers, we've got these first two that they can enjoy, but they cannot enjoy any of this. So why do I have A and why do I have arrow here? That's because if I select all of this and go to my font types, and I want to use the webdings here, see, so you can see what I get here. So these are just what you can have. I want to use the green color to indicate that, and I want to make them bold. So that's it. You can see that I've succeeded in bringing up a presentation that is informative in terms of color, in terms of description of what you can enjoy or what you cannot enjoy of these offers. So all of this, I'm going to make them red, you know, like this and like this. There's a better way to condition all of this, but that's in another group ahead. That's in the style group. But because we're dealing with just the font group, I just want to show you all you can do within the font group. So in future videos, we'll learn how we could use something like conditional formatting to make this do whatever we want it to do in terms of the colors for each of these. So although we have the letter A there, but you see the webdings has been able to give us different appropriate this time appropriate visualizations to indicate whether this offer, whether the basic, medium, or high offer has got what in it. So that's how we can use it, and that's quite interesting for those of you who might be doing things like dashboards. You know, you will enjoy using this to be able to indicate, you know, in different ways a lot of things that you might want to indicate, you know, based on what you see here and the things that you can use them for. Another interesting thing you could do is just test out other things. So here I'm going to put 1 and I'm going to put 2 here, and we're just going to run this down and then see the interesting things that I get. You know, see the interesting things that I get. So, and these are things that I can easily use for visualizations. You get it. So you just check through them. There might be those that would just be ideal for you. You just make a record of them, and then you can use them for your visualizations. Okay. So those are the interesting things you can do within the font group, and I want to believe you learned something from it. For those who are beginners in Excel, I know you've learned something. For those who have been using Excel for some time, yeah, might not be much that you learn, but certainly you might have picked one or two things within this tutorial that you want to be using henceforth. So I encourage you to to hang on by subscribing to the channel so that you could get other tutorials when they get posted. So thank you very much for listening. Have a nice time till the next video. Cheers.